Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty kind of scary news when it comes to the PlayStation, and it does kind of seem like it might actually end up in trouble. And as well, we also have a massive, huge update when it comes to Microsoft, when it comes to big Activision acquisition, and there's a lot of really big gaming drama coming out over here from huge government industries, and well, people are starting to get a little bit worried. Now, as I'm kind of going through all this type of stuff, we've been kind of seeing a lot of like a repeat of a lot of this big government's very anti this Xbox. They're kind of seeing skeptical. A lot of these big companies are chiming got in and giving their thoughts and comments, and everything has been a little bit more on the sketchier side. But PlayStation as well has also been trying their best to fight against this and try their best to maintain their hold, and this is why some of the stuff might be a little bit more scary for PlayStation. So we're going to talk about this, talk about the drama, talk about the new information that came out, and as well, it's kind of intriguing to go and see. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below if you guys want to follow. We have the Target links, we have the Amazon links, and everything else in between, and let's go and dive into the video. So as I'm sure you guys know, it goes up a lot on this channel itself, but basically Microsoft's been trying to go buy Activision. That means Call of Duty, and of course, when it comes to, say, PlayStation, they are a little bit worried and a little bit scared when it does come with the game itself. But there's a brand new information coming out here from the CMA, which is a huge government body, and it kind of puts a lot more pressure on PlayStation, but on the reverse, also makes the Xbox deal maybe slightly less likely to go on through. So we actually have a quote over here from Christopher Dring saying, in the CMA survey of PlayStation players, so basically they're trying their best to figure out like how impactful is things like PlayStation games, exclusive, what is buying a PlayStation, does it matter, is it affecting other folks, and everything in between. They said that 88% said that they chose Sony's console because of the availability of one or more games. So they're either thinking like exclusive, so think like a Ratchet and Clank, God of War, Horizon, or as well of that 88%, 73 of that same like big grouping of people said that it was Call of Duty that influenced their decision. Meanwhile, 69 said they picked PlayStation for Sony exclusives, and then 45% also cited GTA 5. Now, this is some very, very intriguing information, as you guys can probably go and assume. Now, the CMA itself, trying to get information on this, trying to go figure out stuff, basically goes to show that a lot of people, more often than not, actually believe that Call of Duty is a big defining factor. Now, I kind of feel like when I've asked this on Twitch or even on my own YouTube channel, most folks are kind of mediocre when it comes to Call of Duty. They're not fully invested. They don't mind, but they maybe pick it up every year. Like people, like it's literally the #1 best-selling game almost every single year. So there must be some folks out there that end up playing. There must be some folks out there that care. There must be some folks out there that, well, want to go be a part of it. And apparently now with this information that's public, 73% of those folks are really convinced by Call of Duty. Now this is actually really bad news when it comes to Microsoft. Microsoft has been getting a lot of flack when it comes to they're trying to buy this out, trying to go control the monopoly of the game industry, and everything in between. And well, this kind of goes to show even more news that maybe they might not have as strong as a case as they keep on thinking. Like a lot of folks keep on assuming this may go through, but it kind of seems like it's just knocking back like on heaven's door over and over and over again. And that's why it's kind of intriguing. So PlayStation might be in trouble just because #1, those numbers are huge. Like if you have over 70% of your player base that were somehow convinced to go buy the game and play it on PlayStation, and you don't have PlayStation anymore, that means you're not going to make any money from people buying the game itself. You're not going to make any money from the microtransactions, and as well, that actually may be a huge console seller and when it comes to PlayStation. Because if you play all the cool games and the exclusives and the God of Wars and also Call of Duty, but you can't do anything else, and then you lose Call of Duty, and then you're like, well, maybe I'll just go stick on Xbox and get my Game Pass. That actually might be some really big, sad news for PlayStation users. And especially because this is also like an in-depth like government agency. Like the CMA is a pretty big deal. So this can kind of go either way. I'd probably say in terms of the current status, because I'm going to go on the basis that Xbox keeps on saying that they will have no issues and that the deal will close, coming from Phil Spencer himself. So just on that end alone, if this deal does go through with these specific numbers, that may mean that PlayStation might be kind of in trouble. It might be a little bit of a scary situation. But on my more broad sense, instead of like a clickbait title, I do kind of think that Xbox, the case keeps on getting weaker and weaker and weaker, and it was also taking longer and longer and longer for it to actually go get fine-tuned. So basically, Microsoft Activision deal could harm UK gamers, and this is coming out from even more bigger news. The CMA investigation that we just highlighted over there has provisionally concluded that Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision could result in higher prices, fewer choices, or less innovation for UK gamers. And that is the biggest not what you want to hear if you're Microsoft and trying to buy these games, especially because this big deal's been on Microsoft having like monopolies and inhibiting basically expansion of the actual gaming industry and everything else. So the high levels are in-depth independent investigation professionally finds deal rises concerns about cloud and console gaming. Now, these have been the two biggest things too, because consoles, obviously Sony wants to be able to go play PlayStation, have their PlayStation games be involved, and then cloud gaming in terms of like, say, Azure, and like versus, say, like Google Stadia, PS Plus, Netflix Cloud, whatever it may be. The merger could make Microsoft even stronger in cloud gaming, stifling competition in this growing market and harming UK gamers who cannot afford expensive consoles. So basically, they're kind of trying to say, hey, like most people can't afford two consoles, let alone like a really nice gaming PC, like for $2,000. And at this point, they need to have these markets accessible towards pretty much everyone. Now, I kind of think that's a little bit weird because I mean, if you save up money for it, you probably could afford it. But I completely get like you don't want to have to be buying two different games or having to have two different consoles just to play games. Because at least a lot of things like the Play Store and iPhone, you can still go and interchange it, or something like on Steam or EA, like you can still access it if you have a PC. So I can kind of see them kind of being focused on that. They also go and say that the deal could harm UK gamers by weakening the important rivalry between Xbox and PlayStation gaming consoles. So the CMA investigation has provisionally concluded that Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision could result in higher prices, which would be kind of true. Maybe either higher prices on the consoles themselves being sold, higher prices on Game Pass, or as well, higher prices on individually priced games. That could be overall rough. Now, fewer choices or less innovation for UK gamers too as well. And it kind of does time in too, because the Switch is kind of outdated in terms of like hardware. PlayStation, if it doesn't have Call of Duty, and if we have over 70% of folks over here worried about Call of Duty, then guess what? That may also be really bad for Sony. So the provisions finding that from the Competition and Markets Authority follow a wide-ranging investigation conducted over the last 5 months to understand the market and potential impact of the deal. This have left including holding site visits and hearings to hear directly from business leaders at Microsoft and Activision, analyzing over 3 million internal documents from the two businesses to understand their view of the market, commissioning an independent study of UK gamers, which we highlighted at the start of the video, and gathering evidence from a range of other gaming console providers, game publishers, and cloud gaming service providers. And a lot of folks are not happy with this. So basically, the competition and the supply of cloud gaming services. And this is the big one. So the CMA provisionally found that being able to offer popular games will be important for cloud gaming providers to attract users as the market continues to grow and develop. The evidence available to the CMA currently indicates that Microsoft would find it commercially beneficial to make Activision's games exclusive to its own cloud gaming service, or only available on other services under materially worse conditions. Microsoft already accounts for an estimated 60-70% of global cloud gaming services, and also has other important strengths in cloud gaming, from owning Xbox, the leading PC operating system, and the global cloud computing infrastructure, Azure, and Xbox Cloud Gaming. So basically, they're worried because they're like, these people are big, they have a lot of big chances, and no other small companies can deal with this. Especially now that we saw Microsoft throw in I want to say it's $10 billion into the open AI. So that's also going to go and start competing with Google then in terms of the Google search. The CMA provisionally found that buying one of the world's most important game publishers would reinforce this strong position and substantially reduce the competition that Microsoft would otherwise face in the cloud gaming market in the UK. This could alter the future of gaming, potentially harming UK gamers, and particularly those who cannot afford or do not want to buy expensive gaming console, like a PS5 and Xbox at the same time, or a PC. Say competition in the supply of consoles. The CMA provisionally found that a small number of key gamers, such as including Call of Duty, Activision's flagship game, play an important role in driving competition between consoles. And it kind of goes to PlayStation. The evidence available to the CMA, including data on how Microsoft measures the value of customers in an ordinary course of business, currently indicates that Microsoft would find it commercially beneficial to make Activision's games exclusive to its own consoles, or only available on PlayStation under materially worse conditions. The CMA's provisional findings note that this strategy of buying gaming studios and making their content exclusive to Microsoft platforms has been used by Microsoft, following different things such as Bethesda. That's kind of where PlayStation might be in trouble, because the big government bodies realize that PlayStation, under a bad contract or potentially losing their games over time, makes their console weaker. The CMA provisionally found the weakening competition by restricting the access to other platforms to have Activision games could substantially reduce the competition between Xbox and PlayStation in the UK, and it also probably would go to America too as well. Xbox and PlayStation compete closely with each other at present, and access to the most important content like COD is an important part that basically is in regards to competition. Reducing this competition between Microsoft and Sony could result in all gamers seeing higher prices, reduced range, lower quality, and the worst service in gaming consoles over time. It's very intriguing to see because they said there's over 45 million gamers in the UK, and people in the UK spend more on gaming than any other form of entertainment, including music, TVs, etc., books, and this good competition is also dividing the gaming market. They want to make sure that the UK gamers are not caught basically in this weird kind of crossover, and for some odd reason they can't go and have any issues with them. So it's intriguing. Like basically for this one, it kind of shows that the Xbox is very, very apprehensive on this deal, but as well that PlayStation is actually relying a lot more on Call of Duty for console sales in general, normal sales, than most people are expecting. So I want to hear your thoughts and comments down below, because it does seem like PlayStation, if this deal goes through, could be really big in trouble, but as well that Xbox might also have a little bit of a weaker chance of even having this acquisition go through in the first place. So give me your thoughts and comments down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below. We have the Target links down below. We have the Amazon links down below. Anything else all in between. I appreciate you guys all so much for watching here in the first place.